Hello, I'm back with my Snuggie. Uh, Let the record state that it's not because of peer pressure. It's because it's cold again. It's snowed today. Uh, just want that to be very clear. So what happened this week? Let's jump in. The Tribune building in River North that Bally's Casino is set to replace along the river is finally fully demolished. It's gone. And the construction crew has started constructing the first pillars that will go in the ground. So it seems that at least the first phase of the mega development is actually going to happen, which is the actual casino itself, I think, not the hotel or the residential buildings. So that's good despite the financial troubles that they've been having. It seems like something is going to get built. Trump's administration this week put several major Chicago federally owned buildings up for sale, including the building in the area where the red Picasso sculpture, the elephant or whatever it is in the middle of the loop, is, but then later took the listings down. So we'll see what comes of that. Data came out this week that showed that Water Tower Place, the big mall in Gold Coast, only paid $6.8 million in property taxes this year, down from $16 million pre-pandemic, down more than 50%. Just to really hammer home the point that I've been making a couple of times about downtown properties plummeting in value post-pandemic. If Water Tower Place, which is premium tier real estate, has dropped that much, then other downtown real estate has dropped likely more since the pandemic. And that drop, again, in property taxes has to be replaced by other taxes elsewhere or a reduction in the budget, which never happened. So it mostly means that residential homeowners are going to have to pay higher taxes, higher property taxes. The city is reportedly banning the sale of real furs anywhere in the city. So yeah, if you really want fur that comes from something that actually died, get it soon. That's the economic news for the week. What happened in politics? Mayor Johnson, the big news, Mayor Johnson went to Congress, went to Washington, and Republican lawmakers grilled him and a couple of other mayors about their sanctuary city status and policies. The consensus was that he held up pretty well. He didn't really make news, which is good news, I'd say. One congresswoman did say that she was referring Mayor Johnson and the other mayors to the Department of Justice for investigation, which made headlines, but was clearly just for headlines because the Chicago and the other cities are already under investigation by the DOJ. Meanwhile, border crossings and apprehensions, which is what this hearing was at least indirectly about, at the southern border fell to lows that they haven't seen in literally decades. Trump hasn't really had much time to actually do anything differently than Biden did. So it means that merely the threat of Trump and what he said has been enough to substantially reduce the flow of migration at the border, which of course has implications for Chicago, as we've been the primary target of Texas's busing program. Its cruel busing program. Chicago spent $600 million last year on housing and other things related to the tens of thousands of migrants that were bused here. So this could have a pretty significant impact in a positive way on our budget. Rahm Emanuel, who was part of the crew that was reportedly helping Mayor Johnson prepare for his congressional hearing along with Lori Lightfoot, not long after helping him prepare, went on Real Time with Bill Maher, a national political TV show. And when he was asked about the mayor, he took just a very clear shot at Johnson, which kind of went viral, which precipitated speculation that he is considering running for mayor again in 2027. This seems, I think, unlikely. He's probably got bigger positions in his sights. Other people talked about the Illinois Senate seat instead, but we'll see. Otherwise, in the mayoral race of 2027 watch, we didn't have much go on this week. Desmond Yancey, an alderman that is part of the Black progressive wing of the city council and who's often an ally of the mayor, though not always, made waves this week by penning an article addressed to Mayor Johnson that called him, quote, the opposite of what we hoped for. The CTU's leader, the Chicago Teachers Union leader, Stacey Gates, this week said that she thinks they're close to an agreement and released a list of the CTU's key 5 demands. An agenda for the next week's Board of Education meeting seems to indicate that the mayor is again going to keep pushing for CPS to take on debt to pay for a $175 million CTU pension payment, which the city typically pays but doesn't have the budget for this year. And this week, at the same time, Pedro Martinez, the CEO of CPS, released a letter explicitly pushing back on exactly that and pointed to the fact that Brandon Johnson very clearly and explicitly campaigned when he was running for mayor against CPS taking on debt to pay the pension payment, which has historically been the responsibility of the city and the city's budget. So we'll see. It does seem like the two sides maybe slowly coming closer to each other, CTU and CPS. So it seems like the threat of a strike is unlikely at the moment. The CTA, Transit Association, this week promised 10 minutes or sooner buses on most major routes starting this month, which is great, but most critics' focus has been on improvements to the L, not the bus system. In random news, this week was Chicago's 188th birthday, which the city looks not too bad for someone that burnt to the ground. You can hear the boomch. This week, SWAT and a bomb squad had to visit Jones College Prep this week. You may have heard of it after an anonymous caller called in a mass shooting threat. Nothing happened, thankfully. This next one came from a listener of the podcast, though I couldn't really find what she was talking about. Something about bird flu and birds dying in Chicago. And if you see a dead bird on the ground, don't touch it. I think that's what it is. We're all looking at you, Goose. Illinois held a competition to replace the state flag with a newer, better flag. And after months of design submissions and an official popular vote, they announced the results this week, and the wise people of Illinois chose the existing flag, so no change. Chuck's Gun Shop, a South suburban gun shop that has been blamed for selling used guns that end up being used in many of Chicago's shootings, has closed, so maybe that'll have an impact. And then lastly, snow in Chicago this year during meteorological winter, which is from the beginning of December through the end of February, was the lowest it has been since 1936. So a weird winter for us this year, and that is what happened in Chicago this week.